If you hated Biden because you didn't want an old guy in charge and prices were too high and the government was too involved in the private sector and there was chaos on the street, oh boy, I've got bad news. South Korean President Lee Jae-myung. I look forward to your meeting with Chairman Kim Jong-un and construction of a Trump Tower in North Korea and playing golf at that place. Oh my god, he didn't say that, did he? I bet even still, he didn't even think he was getting made fun of. They all know how to play and manipulate him. It's so embarrassing for our country. The world is laughing at him, and by extension, us. I mean, let's be entirely honest, it's not hard to manipulate a demented narcissist, is it? It was an epic troll. Too bad Trump is too stupid to catch it in real time. But someone will clue him in later, and then he'll take revenge on anything related to South Korea. But it was glorious upon delivery. Like when South African President Ramaphosa said, "I wish I had a plane to give you," and Trump said, "I wish you did too." Yeah, Trump just doesn't have any shame. I think it's more he doesn't have any self-awareness, just like the rest of his cult. Trump's desperation is proportional to the threat level of the Epstein revelations. Supreme Leader Poopy Diaper. A lot of people are saying, maybe we'd like a dictator. Oh, and there it is, folks. Don't vote Democrats, they said. He'd be fine, they said. You know, it's not like there was a thing called Project 2025 that was meant to ease the US into a dictatorship, and the constant lowering of the bar in media to allow this being said with no one speaking up against it in the mainstream. Yeah, the bar is gone. Just saying, that should be cause for impeachment. Oh, absolutely, but too bad nothing will happen because the taste of the boot is too appetizing. Really so much for Republicans claiming that they're the side of freedom and liberty. I really don't think they can have a say to anything if this regime comes to an end. Yikes, the American people deserve answers about what's going on with Trump's hand. It looks like his tattoo could possibly mean MS-13. MS-13? Quick! Send him to El Salvador and shave him bald and put him in a cell with 80 other people. Kim Il-Trump. I have the right to do anything I want to. I am the President of the United States. Checks and balances says what? Oh yeah, we just gotta get rid of the fucking lemmings in the Democrat Party that think the way to combat this is to send a strongly worded letter. Yeah, fuck off with that bullshit. Thanks John Roberts and the rest of Scrotus for aggrandizing a narcissist. I really wonder what could go wrong. Well, I'll clue you in. Everything. They don't fucking care. They're in a lifetime appointment, rich enough to build or be gifted a bunker, and not have enough years left on Earth to really live with any of the consequences. I thought they'd at least care about staying in power, and I'm disappointed they don't even have that going for them. No, this is just them doing it out of their own free will, which definitely says something, doesn't it? We've sent hundreds of millions of gallons of water per day to the Pacific Ocean. They turn a valve, and the valve heads out. We've turned the valve back, and I actually had to do it using force. Wow, I bet these morons actually think that there's just like one giant valve that says like the water or something, and you have to like physically turn it in order to stop a bunch of water pouring out into the ocean? A glimpse into Trump's make-believe world of giant water valves in Northern California. Well, yeah, Gavin, why do you just, like, decide it's a good idea to open the comically large tap? I mean, you could just like close it and stuff because somehow that will make America great again. The media is complicit in all of this. I really don't understand how he's not called out on a daily on all of his bullshit. Great, you drained some reservoirs into farmland and the water got nowhere near LA. Essentially wasting it. Good job, moron. Yeah, I'm sure I'll be banned immediately. They seem so afraid to come off as antagonistic. Your job as a media member is to get the truth out there. If he's constantly lying, then yeah, you're gonna look antagonistic, calling out all of his bullshit. I just remember the media having zero issues pushing other administrations when they seem to be obfuscating. None of those incidents were even as close to as bad as what this administration says on an hourly basis. But the bar's sunk down to the Mariana Trench, so we need someone like in South Park to go down in a submarine and pick it back up again. Maybe that will fix it. This man is doing the Lord's work. Constituent, you need to take your head out of Trump's arse. I wonder what Mark Holford said after that. Did he call this person a dem, a lib, or a snowflake? Take your pick. Hey chat, if you guys are going woke and not going broke, you should totally support this gay guy reading stuff by liking, subscribing, and sharing, cause it helps a lot. Anyways, back to the video. Oh look, it's our least favourite propaganda channel. Stephen Miller on Sean Hannity. The Democratic Party is not a political party. It is a domestic extremist organization. Oh, look, it's the thing every fascist government says about the opposition party before they dissolve them and turn the country into a one-party state. But like, totally trying to not be fascists, guys. Trust me, they're so not fascists. In a shocking upset minutes ago, Democrat Catalin Dre just flipped an Iowa State Senate seat from red to blue and broke the Iowa GOP's supermajority in the state Senate. National level Democrats really need to keep their mouths shut and let the party rebuild from the bottom up. Actually, Jeffries, Schumer, Pelosi, and the lot need to go. But hey, what's good is that these new generation of politicians are actually somewhat decent. And you know, actually trying to get shit done. Instead of, you know, the strongly worded letters. But who will write the strongly worded letters? I heard they put an exclamation point in this time. Ooh, they're being spicy now. Hillary Clinton tripped once on her way to an SUV and it launched 8 years of conspiracy theories about her hiding some eldritch chronic illness that was undoubtedly terminal. And Donald Trump shows up in public with the most fucked up hand imaginable and no one in media will touch it. But yeah, because weird bloodied up gangrene hand doesn't own the libs, and saying that Hillary Clinton is like some Satanist somehow does. Cause, you know, what am I gonna do with my Hillary Clinton hat and shoes now? Stage 9 blood cankles, and the press is like, Biden, still too old to have been president. What was he thinking? They're gonna do the same shit to Newsom. You cannot have a free press when it's owned by billionaires. Break up big media, put law firms that limit ownership of media, and ban the fuck out of and arrest Fox News. Or alternatively, make it so entertainment channels like Fox News can't actually call themselves news. All of those actions we would need to recover our fourth estate. Billionaires owning all of the major media outlets is such a wild and flagrant capture and corruption of journalism and reporting. And it's the most obvious step to oligarchy. Oh yeah, cause, you know, trust the billionaire-owned news companies to criticize billionaires for being pieces of shit. Yeah, it ain't gonna happen. But hey, National Guard are now sanitation workers? Yeah, they're cleaning up the wrong messes. The National Guard is now tasked with picking up garbage in DC. They should really start with the trash in the White House. Yeah, I don't see why the National Guard was tasked with cleaning up squatters and the lot, when the biggest squatter is in the White House. Are they hazmat certified? Also, they're gonna need a bigger barrel. A cracker barrel? Whoa, you don't understand though. The cracker barrel went woke. Therefore, we can't use barrels anymore. We've got to use, like, clay pots now. Because, you know, that owns the libs. Barrels are too woke. He's just so stupid. He's so breathtakingly stupid, in fact, that the above statement is all it takes for every person reading this to know exactly who I'm talking about. Me? Are you talking about me? Who else could it be? There's a real head scratcher, that. From 2020, and even with the incredibly wide awareness of this fact, won the primary. I even remember how in 2021 and 22, there was a lot of talk about how Republicans weren't gonna let him run again, and then won the presidency a second time. Shit, we can't win the next election, nor the future ones. Let's just give it to him. Yes, he's a piece of shit, but we can't overlook his grifter qualities. Said the day before their primary, and then they all fell in line. They won. In 2022, Ron DeSantis was their new darling. Then they put him on camera, and then they realised he has the charisma of a bottle of Elmer's glue. And after that, they were just like, guess it's Trump again. That's the only thing he's somewhat good at, and is he really? Is him being able to graft and cultivate a fucking massive cult. Oh look, JD Vance officially comes out against freedom of speech? I swear that there was this like weird and wacky document that was meant to like state people's rights in the US. I must be tripping. Did that ever exist in the first place? Few things. Anton Scalia was a great Supreme Court justice and a genuinely kind and decent person. And the president's EO was consistent with Texas v. Johnson. But Texas v. Johnson was wrong and William Requested was right. I don't understand how he can say it's consistent with Texas v. Johnson, but also say Texas v. Johnson was wrong. It's doublespeak within the same tween. Really remarkable. Well, yeah, because 1984 was just their instruction manual. And you know, they have spent the past, like, large amount of years easing a large percentage of gullible Americans into being absolutely fine with politicians contradicting themselves in the same statement. Cause, you know, it doesn't matter if 2 + 2 = 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7. What matters is that the party is always right, no matter what the answer is. It's simple. Trump is consistent with people who are wrong. That could also be JD saying that. Is he by any chance having a falling out with Baby Poopy Diaper? We'll have to find out. Throughout this whole mess, no one has failed America like its press. Well, yeah, because like a large amount of them are being bought by billionaires. Had the modern press covered Watergate, Nixon would have gotten away with everything. Well, yeah, but also there was such a thing called shame back then. Shame on the journalists of America. You are an absolute disgrace, and you've failed in your sacred duties. But they've got a mortgage to pay, and you know, billionaire bosses to placate. So, of course they're just gonna peddle propaganda. You know, I mean, think of the shareholders as well. It's because of Watergate that the right has spent 50 years dismantling the American press. Look up the history of Fox. It was founded by a Nixon aide specifically to prevent another Watergate. Wow, Fox was founded to be a propaganda network? Crazy that. I thought it was like unbiased news. And also the American education system. Gotta keep 'em uninformed for life. Wind power kills whales is a thing that they just said in a cabinet meeting. RFK Jr. Oh yay, time to do the shitty RFK impression again. Hope you guys like it. Wind is the most expensive energy. They've killed 160 whales in the last 2 years. They're wiping out the population, and you're gonna save the whales on the East Coast because of this. Do the whales, like, fly into the wind turbines or something? Oh shit, is there more submarines in the sky than planes in the ocean as well? Damn, I remember when like one of the fields around where I lived like built a couple of wind turbines, and then I just saw those like famous sky whales like flying into them and then just getting like blended up and shit. You know, wind is like so dangerous because like, you know, like the spinny bit, it can just kind of like detach and then mow through cities like shurikens. Yeah, that's happened in the UK a couple of times. It's not good. So let's not just make America, but the world great again by stopping these wind power shurikens flying through our cities, and also blending our sky whales. Good! Don't obey in advance, for God's sake. Breaking news! Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook pushes back with a strong statement after Trump claimed to fire her. I don't think the president has control over the Fed, but okay. President Trump purported to fire me for a cause, when no cause exists under the law, and he has no authority to do so. I will not resign, and I will continue to do my work to support the US economy, as I have since 2022. Oh no, President Poopy Diaper isn't gonna like that. He's gonna put tariffs on the Feds. 20% tariffs on all US dollars going in and out of the Feds. You're gonna get tariffed. And then he's gonna do some stern negotiation, also known as having a hissy fit on live TV, and then a bunch of stupid right-wingers saying that it's him being firm, or something like that. Let me just snap some of your maggot minds right now. The Federal Reserve is not part of the federal government. No! Next you're gonna tell me FedEx isn't either. Whoa, that's different. FedEx is part of the federal government. Let's be for real right now. Trump fires Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook. And I wonder how the market reacts when the president tries to dig his nose into the Federal Reserve and the economy. This is the US dollar following this announcement. That doesn't look too good, does it? But hey, I mean, he did say there were going to be low prices, right?